Good morning, fifth period. I hope you're doing well today. We're going to continue talking about Emily Dickinson, and we're going to look at the assignment you guys did yesterday. I haven't had a chance to look through all of them, but I wanted to kind of go over those answers real quick before we continued. So let's start by reading the poem. Success is counted sweetest by Emily Dickinson. Success is counted sweetest by those who ne'er succeed. To comprehend a nectar requires sorest need. Not one of all the purple host who took the flag today can tell the definition so clear of victory. As he defeated dying on whose forbidden ear the distant strains of triumph burst agonized and clear. So on first reading of this poem, you're probably thinking, what on earth is she talking about? Poetry can be kind of difficult because poetry is truncated, meaning you don't get a full explanation. You don't get things like sentences. You get phrases, and it's up to you to interpret those. Now, there's two ways to look at interpreting poetry. There's the way that everyone interprets poetry and the way that scholars have decided makes the most sense based on their research of the work, their research of the time, their research of the author, and all of that stuff together. So we know that Emily Dickinson lived during the Civil War, and we know that we're talking about someone defeated and dying who captured a flag. A host, we learned, was an army. So all of those things together tell us that it's probably about a soldier during the Civil War. So who is the purple host in line 5? That was one of your questions yesterday. So if all you had to do was actually click on the little thing in your iBook, and it told you the purple host is the army that achieved victory, which is symbolized by capturing the opponent's flag. Okay, so I don't know if any of you guys ever played Capture the Flag or King of the Hill or one of those kind of games. I know we played those when I was young, but I don't think my kids ever played them. But the whole idea was if you have two armies fighting against each other, if one side could get to where the other army's flag is and capture the flag, that signaled defeat of that side. The next thing I asked you guys to do was to look at lines 9 through 12 and have you paraphrase them. Okay, so like I said, I think I said yesterday in the video, a stanza is just a section of poetry that's broken apart from another section. So this is one section, so one stanza, two stanza, three stanza. Because they have 4 lines, they're also called a quatrain. So the quatrain from lines 9 to 12 is down here. It says, as he defeated dying on whose forbidden ear the distant strains of triumph burst agonized and clear. So before we try to paraphrase that, let's think about what this whole poem is about. Basically, the speaker notes that people who fail appreciate the success the most. And you can see this. So, as he defeated dying, so this means that his army side's flag was captured. But he's understanding and appreciates success the most because he knows what it means to lose it. So he lost the war, he's losing his life, and he knows what it would be to succeed. If you look at this quatrain here and you paraphrase it, one way you could do it is you could say the dying soldier on the losing side, hearing the far-off sound of the winner's celebration, knows the meaning of victory better than the victors do, because he's giving up his entire life for it. And your third question was really an opinion question. So I was only looking for you to, let's read that question. Do you agree that those who fail are better able to appreciate success than those who win? Explain your answer. And you could have looked at this from a point of view of sports or succeeding in school. Anything really kind of worked as long as you wrote it in a way that I could fully understand it. You should do fine on that question. So let's look specifically at the rhythm, or the things that create rhythm within this poem. So for example, as he defeated dying on whose forbidden ear, the distant strains of triumph burst agonized and clear. Well, first of all, we see these dashes. Now, Emily Dickinson does some odd punctuation, or what we would think of as odd punctuation. And part of that is because when you read poetry, you really need to understand what each type of punctuation means. So these are technically called em dashes, and it's em and then the word dash. And the reason for that is they are supposed to be the width of a capital letter M. So that's different than a hyphen, and that's different than like a normal dash that you'd have in like the word brother-in-law. And what this does is it kind of works as parentheses where you give more information. So, but it's a quicker thought. So it's as he defeated dying, because if you think about a dash, even if you take that word out of the context of punctuation, dashing is a quick run, right? So it makes that line move more quickly. As he defeated dying, on whose forbidden ear the distant strains of triumph burst agonized and clear. So some other things we see in that quatrain, that stanza, is we see the alliteration of the D. Alliteration is a repetition of the first sound of the word. Defeated, dying, distant. Okay, all of those together create a pattern. Da, 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 da. And we also see assonance, which is a repeating of a vowel sound, and it's the E sound. Defeated, ear, clear. All of those things go together to create a rhythm. Do you see any other rhythm within Emily Dickinson's poem? What about in that first stanza? Success is counted sweetest by those who ne'er succeed. To comprehend a nectar requires sorest need. Okay, so what about alliteration? I see a lot of words that sound with S. Success, sweetest, succeed, sorest. We also have the repetition of the E sound, okay? So sweetest, succeed, need, and then of course the rhyme here. So why do you think that Emily Dickinson did not use a standard rhyming couplet? She rhymed in the first stanza, but there's no rhyme in the second, but she went ahead and rhymed again in the third. Why do you think she would have made that choice? And that answer is actually something that you've got to figure out for yourself. Why would she do that? These two, when things rhyme, they tend to be easy to remember, right? When things don't rhyme, they're a little harder to remember. So what is she trying to emphasize? She's talking about success and people who do not achieve that success and that they appreciate it the most. And then here it goes back to the feeling of, oh my gosh, we've got someone dying who did not win. And here's the other side celebrating and how that must feel. It's agonized and clear. It's painful. So she's drawing attention with the repetition of the rhyming couplet. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about citing poetry. So Dickinson writes poetry, so when you quote her work, you have to format the quote like poetry, which is different than a regular sentence from a story or some kind of article. The original, success is counted sweetest by those who ne'er succeed. So notice in the original, it's two separate lines, but that's not how you will cite it. The way you cite it is down here. The speaker says, success is counted sweetest by those who ne'er succeed. So this would all be on one line. It's showing on two here because of the font size and things. But notice this right here, this forward slash with a space on either side of it. That is how you indicate a different line in poetry. So if you're citing poetry, you do not have it look like this. You have it look like this. And then it's cited with the poet's last name and the line numbers. For your next assignment, you need to complete the Google form entitled Success is Counted Sweetest, Deep Reflection Questions. Remember that you must complete it in one sitting, so make sure that your iPad is fully charged. Add text evidence where it makes sense to add it. It's due tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Have a great day. Bye.